Ma'am, please start, ma'am. Please start.
Once again, it gives me immense pleasure in welcoming you all to the ICSSR-sponsored 21-day International Workshop on Faculty Development Program on Innovative Techniques for Professional Development of Teachers in Higher Education. A very good afternoon to all of you. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our person today, who is building, improving an academic profile. Our today's speaker is very energetic and dynamic, Dr. MORAN from Jilin University, China. Ma'am has obtained her MA in English from Delhi University in 2002, MA in Linguistics from JNU in 2004, and from JNU itself, ma'am has obtained her MPhil in 2005 and has been awarded PhD in 2011. She is an award-winning paper presenter on diverse subjects. Her areas of interest are language typology, endangered and lesser-known languages, language documentation, language and technology, language teaching and learning methods and techniques, ESL studies, English for technical communication, business and professional communication, creative writing, instructional designing, e-learning, courseware development. Ma'am has presented 12 research papers in international conferences and has acted as resource person in many national and international workshop, webinars, and faculty development programs. Ma'am has a big list of professional experiences like senior lecturer in University Malaysia, Perlis, from December 15 to December 19, assistant professor NIT Delhi, manager on content strategy in Autogen Technologies, deputy manager on content in Centum Learning Limited, instructional designer in NIIT Limited, assistant professor IMS Engineering College, research analyst in Intech from May 2010 to June 2010, content writer in V&L's Technologies, and so on. Ma'am has successfully completed 4 research projects, including her PhD. 6 ongoing projects are under her supervision. Ma'am has authored a good number of books and contributed 6 chapters in Scopus Index and peer-reviewed books. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. Now it is over to you.
Namaskar, and very good afternoon to everyone here. First of all, thank you so much, organizers, for giving me this opportunity to share my perspectives and my views on innovative techniques for professional development of teachers in higher education. So without further ado, let's just start today's topic. Let me just share my PPT first with you. Can you see my PPT?
It's still working, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Excellent, ma'am. Just you click on hide that option, ma'am. Hide.
Okay. Now you can see my entire screen. So today's topic is building and improving my academic profile. All I am going to share with you is basically a few possibilities that I feel are important for us, relevant for us in terms of building and improving our own academic profile. Since I'm also one of you, so this is something that I have worked personally on my building my academic profile. So that's why I'm going to share the same with all of you. Before we start, we should know what basically can be termed as an academic profile. So when we talk about academic profile, we usually think of, in simple terms, we think of a CV, a resume, and actually academic profile is more than that. So, what are the basic things that we need to keep in mind while talking or thinking about our academic profile? Is basically the constituents that we need or that we need to include in sort of a description of what we study, what we research, and what we experience in our work history. So, to talk about our academic profile, the basic things that we need is details of our studies, of our research, and of our work history. Now, why do we need it? Because in the academic fraternity, if we need to evolve as an academician, then we would need some sort of documentation that talks about what are our achievements in terms of our education, in terms of our research, and in terms of our work experience. So again, I'm actually repeating the same three components that we need to include in our academic profile, or we need to look into while developing our academic profile. Now, again, why do we need it? Because we need to expose ourselves to the wider academia if we really want to develop ourselves or grow ourselves professionally in this particular field, or in any particular field. We do need to have our own profile. So in terms of academia, uh, our profile would be commonly known as academic profile. So basically, we would, by writing or by developing our academic profile, we would actually let others in the same fraternity to know what are our achievements, what are our contribution to this fraternity, and how we improve on it, and how we update ourselves on it. So these are the things we need to know. So basically, when we talk about a teacher, it simply doesn't mean the one who teaches, because in today's term, teacher, the term teacher has more than just teaching, especially when we talk about an academician in higher education. So he or she has more than just teaching, and that's why we need to have an academic profile to showcase what all roles, responsibilities, assignments, achievements we have under our name, to let others in the same field know about it, and then we grow together. So that's the meaning of, that's the purpose of having an academic profile. Now, here I have put just one question. What do we need for an academic profile? Basically, there are two questions. One is, what do we need to grow our own, or to create or develop our own academic profile? And how do we go about it? So what and how are the two aspects of developing an academic profile that we are going to discuss today. Now, as I said, first of all, we need, what are the things, what are the components we need to know that, and that will help us grow up the ladder of our academic profile. Now, the points that I'm going to mention here are actually the ones that I feel are important. So this is totally my own perspective that I am going to share. So these are the components that I believe one should have and one should work on in terms of building his or her own academic profile. So research focus, mobility, publication the lectures, reviewer activities, teaching, supervision, and administrative responsibilities. So I believe these are some of the key components. I'm saying some because there may be more, but for me right now, I feel these are some of the important ingredients that I should have in my academic profile. So we will go one by one, and we will see what are the things that are needed or required in these particular components to for us to include in our profile. Now, since I have said research focus is the first one, because when it comes to higher education, we all know that we have mainly two basic ingredients. One is teaching and the other one is research. So when we pursue an academic career in, especially in a higher education system, then we need to focus more on the research perspectives, because how and why we would just talk about it in a while. So when we say research focus, basically we need to have a particular degree of specialization, which all of us have, because whether we do our masters, we pursue our masters, or we pursue our MPhil or PhD, or even higher studies, let's say postdoctoral studies. In any case, we would need, from post graduation onwards, we do need a subject of specialization and a field of specialization, so that we can direct our academic career in a particular direction or in a particular shape. So that's why we do have, or we should have, a specific topic, a specific subject when we go up for our higher studies, when we go up the ladder for our higher studies. Now, when we talk about our degree of specialization, for instance, since I'm from humanities, so I would be talking more about humanities, actually, about MA, let's say. So, actually, from graduation onwards, we have the scope of having a particular, belonging to a particular discipline or sub-discipline. Because in our graduation, let's say I have completed my BA. So if I have a major subject, an honors subject, that means from there onwards, I can actually shape my academia or my academic world to be in a specific discipline. So my major subject is will be the one that will start my start shaping my specific discipline. The more I study, when I start pursuing my master's, my post graduation, then it becomes even narrower. That means it becomes even more specific, because let's say I have completed my graduation with the major subject of English language or literature. Now, if it is English language, and if I want to further my study on the same discipline, in the same discipline, then that's how I have chosen linguistics, which is even narrower or more specific in that particular domain. And then after that, when I go for my MPhil and then PhD, and if I feel like doing my pursuing my post doctoral as well, then it would become even narrower. Now, this is something which all of us know. So my basic point is, our studies, higher studies, actually give us the opportunity to have a degree of specialization, which will include, which will enable me to belong to a specific discipline and sub-disciplines. So basically, when we pursue our higher studies, things that we need to keep in mind in terms of research focus is, there are these things that I feel we should keep in our mind. One is our research interest should be very specific. Just like in our studies, in our higher studies, when we grow towards a specific, towards being in a specific discipline, being in a specific topic of expertise, we learn that, and then we develop our profiles accordingly to fit into that particular discipline or that particular topic, a subtopic, or sub areas or sub areas. So in the same way, in terms of research as well, we have to specify what are our main interests. Just now, when ma'am was talking about me, she talked about my areas of specialization. Now, this is something that I feel we should keep in our academic profiles as one of the main points for others to see what are the fields or subfields where I can actually contribute my knowledge, or where I can share my expertise or my experiences. So that's why it is very important for us when we want to develop our academic profile. It's very important for us to have specific and focused research interests. So let's say if I have my research interest is in lesser known languages and language documentation, then further on maybe I can just narrow it down to be even more specific, so that my field of expertise becomes even more prolific, even more apparent to others. So that's why it's important for us to have for us to specify our research interests. Now, the second point is how do we do that? How do we specify our research interest, and then how do we work on that? Now, when we start, once we specify our research interest, then we start, let's say, writing research papers or chapters, and want to go for publication of those work. In that case, my research topic has to be very focused. It has to be very specific. So basically, there has to be a very clear match between my, I would say, degree of specialization, my research interest, as well as the topics or the subject that I have chosen to write a research paper about. So all these things have to be matched, so that they have to be aligned well, so that the output of it, the published research paper, actually showcases very specifically that these are the research interests this person has expressed through the research paper, and this is how this person has shared his or her knowledge about it, or the research about it. So this alignment is important in terms of research focus. At the same time, we also need to focus on interdisciplinary research. So this kind of seems like the opposite of the first point, where I'm saying that we have to be very specific on a particular, choosing a particular discipline or sub-discipline, and channel our research through that. And on the contrary, I'm saying that for the second point, that diverse research is also important. Now, how does that sound important? Interdisciplinary research is not a new trend. It has been there for quite a long time. If I do explore diverse research topics or subjects, but maybe overall more or less in the same discipline, but different topics, so in that case, I would get more opportunities to not only just explore those fields or subfields, but also gain experience from it, learn from it, and then develop my own expertise on those subtopics or subfields, maybe under the same broader discipline, but diverse fields or subfields under the same discipline. So that's why research focus on a particular research interest is important, as well as exploration of different topics or subtopics under the same broader domain is also important. But in that case, I have to make sure that I am not losing my focus, my research domain. Maybe the broader domain still remains the same, but under that domain, there are different subdomains, and I am trying to explore those subdomains by trying to write or trying to work on interdisciplinary research activities. So that's how I should be on my focusing on my discipline, as well as exploring different sub-disciplines, maybe under the same broader domain. Now, only doing research, only pursuing research on different subfield is not enough for me if I want to develop my academic profile accordingly. So what I have to do is I also need to make or build my publication profile along with that. So in any case, publication is very important. If I have to work on, if I have decided to work on my academic profile. Now, next point, before that, we would actually go through these points, we would revisit them, but let me just go through the points first, what I feel it should be, we should be focusing on. So let me just go through the points once, and then we would again revisit a few of them. The second point, as I said, mobility. Now, academic mobility is important for us if I really want to develop my academic profile, because one, it will give me more opportunities. Two, it will give me the chances for gaining more experience and more knowledge, and thus develop my expertise accordingly. So that's why academic mobility is important. Now, how do I do that? Maybe by let's say I have completed, or I have been doing pursuing my doctorate research from one particular institution. But if I don't, after my doctoral studies, if I think of or decide to have to pursue my postdoctoral studies, if I feel like from another institution, then that can give me an opportunity for academic mobility, because what I have learned from my doctoral studies in one particular institution is already with me. So if I go for my postdoc in a different institution, then it will give me even more exposure to different opportunities. So instead of trying to complete my studies from one particular institute, if I think of moving to different institutes for different higher degrees, I'm talking about higher degrees, then it gives me more exposure, it gives me more opportunities, and it actually opens up windows for me to think of how else think of ways how else I can actually build myself as a profound academician or researcher, and thus develop my academic profile. So yes, academic mobility is important. At the same time, maybe I can also think of exploring funding opportunities. Now, this is both for higher studies as well as research. Now, let's say I am an academician and I have completed my studies, but I still want to look for some funding opportunities for research, maybe long term or short term. So there are numerous platforms these days, because we have internet, so we have actually access to everything and anything under the sun. So in that case, if I want to look for funding opportunities to pursue or to conduct maybe research, short-term research, let's say, even being in the role of an academician, and if I want to look for such opportunities anywhere within the country or abroad, and there are numerous opportunities, numerous platforms where I can find out information on such funding opportunities. So maybe I feel we should explore those. Even on social media, there are lots of such links that we can get actually. So all we need to do is explore the internet and explore whatever resource I have in my hand to find out opportunities where I can which can help me facilitate my research or my higher studies. At the same time, we should also I feel we should also explore academic opportunities of teaching, maybe within the country or abroad. Now, I personally have decided to explore, and that's how I have landed in Malaysia with my previous job, because I really wanted to know what the academic fraternity of other nations are doing in terms of teaching in higher studies. Are they, what kind of research they are engaged with, what kind of teaching format they are familiar with, or what are the new trends they are familiar with, and what are they using, basically what tools are they using, what techniques are they using. So all sorts of trends and aspects that we need to know I need to know as an academician, because when we talk about us as academician, I feel teaching students of today's generation is very different, very different than teaching students of maybe, let's say, 10-20 years ago, uh, because of course, because of the advancement of technology, because of innovations, teaching innovations, like educational innovations. So as an academician, I feel I should be familiar with the latest practices, the current practices that people, that academics in other country or other places are doing, what they are used to teaching, or how they are used to teaching, what sort of tools are they using. So I feel like I should also explore, since we do have the opportunities, all we need to do is explore them. So I feel like I should explore those platforms, I should explore those opportunities, and that's how I can actually work on my academic profile as well, while uh, learning myself as an academician the new trends, the new practices that I should be doing as a teacher in a higher institution, higher studies institution. So I feel we should also explore academic opportunities here as well as abroad. As I said, there are lots of platforms or websites where we can find such opportunities of, let's say, teaching or research or funding or research grant opportunities. So some of those websites are, as I have mentioned here, I mean, these are very common websites. We all know about these websites. So they keep updating such opportunities, both academic and research, in higher studies. They keep updating the details. So maybe we should check such websites like Times, Higher Education or Scholarship Position, or UREX's. Now, in terms of looking for such opportunities, maybe before we do that, we should also have a plan, proper plan of, let's say, where we want to explore these. Maybe we should specify our search for it, because as I said, these websites or internet has endless access of information related to such opportunities. So in that case, in today's world, we can actually work anywhere and everywhere, and we can get to know the details of such opportunities easily. So that's why we need to have a plan of where exactly we want to work or do conduct research, or where exactly I want to explore my funding opportunities, or what topics I want to, or what subtopics or sub areas of subject I want to actually work on. I can always specify these aspects, and then look for what exactly I want. So it's actually easier, all I'm trying to say is it's actually easier these days to look for these aspects online. That is why mobility, academic mobility, is important for us to know about such things, to know about such details and such opportunities, which can actually help us develop our or enhance our academic profile. Since I said we are teachers, and teaching is not the only thing that we have to do, and that is why we need to know what are the other responsibilities that are assigned to us, or what are the newer responsibilities or roles that we can actually fit into, and how we can fit in to those, or how we can develop our expertise to be eligible for those roles and responsibilities. So that's why academic mobility is important for us, along with research focus if we want to develop our academic profile. Next one is, of course, publications, because when we talk about research, publication is an integral part of it. And how do we go about it? Now, to publish a paper, I need to know a few things, basic things. My topic has to be very clear, very specific. The quality of my paper, I must work on that. Then what is my number of publication? Because if I have to develop my academic profile, I need to, keep increasing the number of publication, because it's a dynamic aspect, dynamic field where I need to work on constantly. So I need to know or focus on, specify what number of publications I already have. Am I, working much in, let's say, this is the pandemic time. The ongoing situation has actually halted us from doing the usual, going by the usual procedure of or usual structure of academia. So we are not doing that due to the ongoing situation. So in that case, I feel publication is something that we can work on without going for the usual structure. And since if I have to talk about myself, I have been a part of Jilin University, but due to lockdown and due to this situation, I'm still here in India. So it's all virtual right now. I haven't physically been there. But in that case, I feel like, I can utilize this time by focusing more on my publication, and by focusing more on, specific publications, as in, as I said, we have to be very specific on our topic and the quality of our publication, of our papers. So I'm focusing more on that right now. And not only the number of publication matters, but the type of publication also matters. Is it a journal paper that I have, that my research paper has, come out as, or is it a book chapter, or is it a paper in a special issue of a journal? So I need to know, I need to be familiar with those things as well, those details as well. Now, when it comes to publication, of course, citation is important. Now, citation actually gives us the opportunity to for other people in my fraternity, my academic fraternity, to know and keep an update on what I am doing academically, what research I have been working on. So basically, it exposes me as a researcher. My citations, the history of my citation exposes me as a researcher, and it shows my contribution and commitment to research. So that's why keeping track of my citations, are people reading my work, is my work getting noticed, those things. So I have to keep a track of that as well. When it comes to citation, of course, we need to be familiar with terms like indexed journals or high indexed journals. So I just have mentioned here a few, like SCI, IEEE, SSCI. So if I'm from the humanities background, I would focus more on journals that are indexed in SSCI. I also need to be familiar with the impact factors these journals have. So this is all about numbering, actually. It's all about numbers and digits, but then at the same time, it broadly talks about, or my own, journey as a researcher in the academic field. So that is why this is important to keep track of, how many, let's say, high index journal papers do I have published or under publication, or what are the impact factors of those journals. Now, when we talk about this, another important point is, how do we do that? Let's say, how do I know more about what are the high index journals or their impact factors, because these, as I said, these are numbers and they keep changing. They keep fluctuating, so I need to regularly keep a tab of are these journals still highly indexed? Are they part of any of the index journal system or a mechanism, or is the impact factor still high, or is it coming low, coming down a bit, or are there new journals that are now included in the index journals list? So I need to keep a tab of these things very regularly, at least before I decide to publish my paper, my research. So I need to keep track of these things. Now, apart from publications, I also need to make sure that my lectures as in presentations or conferences or invited lectures, these are also important for me to keep myself engaged with, because they also give me advantage of developing my academic profile. Now, whether it's publication or conferences or presentations like the ones I have mentioned, in all cases, these are some of the platforms that give us the opportunity to develop our networking, develop our research network. Because when it comes to research, I'm not the only one who is doing it, who is working on it. There are my peers, known or unknown, who have been working on the same area or on different areas under the same domain. So I should be familiar with those with that mechanism as well. uh, Now, when I said keep track of your citations, it means that also entails the fact that I also need to keep a tab of what citations I have mentioned in my journal, my research paper. Because if you want to get cited, you also need to cite others' works that are relevant to your research. So it works both ways. So that's why developing this research networking is important, for not only for our academic profile, but also for us to grow professionally as academicians in higher educational system. So that is why these things are important. Now, when we go to, like, in common terms, when we go to presentations or virtual presentation or physical, when we go for such presentations or conferences or workshops, do we actually, I mean, we should ask ourselves, do we actually gain, apart from the knowledge that has been shared, apart from that, do we establish any sort of research networking there? Do we introduce ourselves to others in the same platform, or do we exchange our interest, or do we exchange our ideas? Because these are the platforms that give us those opportunities, which I feel we should grab. Because I believe once a learner is always a learner. So even in academics, if I want to grow academically and I want to improve my academic profile, I still should be on the learner mode, because only then I can grow up and I can work on my profile as well as develop my expertise on maybe different subjects or different sub areas or areas. And in that way, it's actually a path of self discovery. Professionally, it's a path of self discovery as well. So that's why it's important for me to develop and work on my research networking as well, to know more people in the same field, and to share their ideas, perspectives, to utilize that knowledge in my research work, to exchange and to share my own perspectives with them. So this practice is important for us, especially when I am in the higher education system. And then it is important for it is more relevant for me than anything else. So that's why it is important, along with publications, research, and such lectures or presentations and conferences. Another point that I feel important for us if we want to grow professionally as academicians in higher education is reviewer, the role of reviewer. Now, I have, let's say, I have pursued my research, completed my research on a particular topic. I have, gained certain knowledge or certain expertise on a particular domain or on a particular topic or area. Now, I want to expand my expertise on different subject areas or different sub areas under the same domain. So in that case, I feel the role of a reviewer actually can help me a lot. And now, so what do I have to do to be a reviewer? Let's say I have, I didn't really have done much as a reviewer. I haven't really done the cap of a reviewer. So maybe I can start by writing review papers just to practice, by writing review papers and by reading review papers, because review papers are totally different from research papers. Research papers are lengthier, they have more detailed information, analysis. But when it comes to a review paper, it's relatively shorter, and then it has specific details on how you feel or how you analyze logically and reasonably about someone else's work. So what are the things I have to keep in mind while reviewing some work? I have to know those aspects. So that's why I'm saying, before I start donning the cap of a reviewer, the role of a reviewer, I should start with writing review papers and reading review papers just to start my practice on towards that particular role. Once I do that, I become familiar with how a reviewer should work. Now, why is it important? Because as I said, if I have to have an academic profile in higher education, I need to not only keep track of my teaching activities and research activities, publications. I also need to have other work, other responsibilities. One of which is being a reviewer. It actually shows, being a reviewer, my role will show to others. It will show my my expertise, where I stand in terms of sharing or in terms of delivering my own knowledge. So where I stand, and then how do I say, how efficient I am in terms of reviewing or analyzing someone else's research. This is important because when I grow myself academically, professionally in academia, I will start as a teacher, then I will grow up the ladder, and then there will be a point of time when I will be a supervisor, when I will be assigned with responsibilities of supervising other works, because I must have already gained some experience to uh, be eligible for that post, for that role. So that's why it is important for us to know the duties or responsibilities of these roles, different roles. So to be a reviewer, I should start getting myself involved with journals, conference proceedings, special issues of journals or chaptered books. So these are some of the many opportunities where I can actually explore and find myself the role of a reviewer. So because my involvement in terms of research and in terms of academia, it is important to be documented. And that's why my reviewer activities will help me accomplish that. Teaching, of course, teaching is the most important activity or role that we would like to take when when we are in the academia. But in terms of higher education, as I said, teaching it involves more than just teaching. So now, let's say I don't have any experience of teaching anywhere. I need to start somewhere. So maybe I have just completed my research or completed my post graduation, and now I want to have some because I want to streamline my academic career from there onwards. So that's why I want to learn or gain some experience on teaching. So in that case, it is okay for me to start as a teacher, even unpaid or less paid, let's say, because my focus is more on gaining the experience. That's what I'm going to add to my CV or to my academic profile. So that's why if you have not been part of any teaching fraternity, try to get yourself enrolled as a teacher soon, wherever you get the opportunity, so you explore those. One is that. Second, once I become a teacher, now my duty is to cover different areas, different topics under the same area or sub areas, let's say. So that's why I need to know different teaching formats, because I don't get to teach the same students or same batch again and again. So I'm just talking about the current scenario. We do have semester systems in most of our almost all of our institutions. So maybe in one semester I get one batch which is totally different from the previous semester, a previous batch. Even though I'm teaching the same topic or same subject, but my students are different. Since it is an institution of higher studies, I should expect that my students are not immature. They have some level of maturity. So that's why I need to be familiar with ways of how to make my teaching more interactive among my students. Now, in what happens in colleges and universities, we do get to see different students coming from different backgrounds, with different proficiency levels, with different attentive levels, different thinking levels. So it's a whole lot of world altogether, a different world actually. So that is why it is important for us to try and bring something new to my teaching every semester. I should try to bring something new so that my students get, they get useful assistance from me. And I also get to learn something new in terms of teaching techniques or methods, or covering new areas under the same, let's say, subject, because that's how I also expand my expertise, my teaching expertise. So that is why I should be familiar with different topics and different teaching formats. And for this matter, I should consider myself as a learner, because with technology being used everywhere these days, our students actually sometimes know more than us about, they are more technically savvy than us. So in that case, they know more better usage of technology than us at times. So that's why we should also keep ourselves update ourselves on different teaching formats and teaching methods. So for that, maybe we can attend different workshops that are oriented mainly for showing us different teaching methods, teaching techniques, different lecture preparation methods or implementations, or how to supervise a student, or how to use various digital platforms. Because as I said, these days teaching is, it has become more and more interactive. And when it comes to higher education, it becomes even more important for us, because there the students by then, they know more than us technically. And that's why it's important for us to be familiar with various digital platforms, and we need to know all of it, because we want to make sure that we create a better platform, a better interactive platform for our students to understand their subjects, to understand their topics. And at the same time, we also want to be familiar with it, because we want to expand our expertise on by using those formats, or by using those methods and techniques. Another point I feel which is important for us as teachers is getting evaluated. I'm not sure about you, but in my case, in all the workplaces, previous workplaces I have worked, the academic workplaces, everywhere we had this course evaluation system where there will be two entities which will evaluate our work, our teaching, basically our courses. One will be the students that I teach; they will evaluate my teaching. Second, my peers, who will evaluate my teaching. Both are important, I believe, because peers, of course, that is important, because by doing that, by practicing that, we would know what are the new or innovative methods my peers are using. I can make use of that. At the same time, if I'm using something new, then my peer, my colleague, can also make the best of that technique or that method. But I feel what is more important is being evaluated or getting evaluated by our students, especially if I am in higher education, because it is very important in today's world to, you know, for my students to know me better, and for me to know my students better. So for this reciprocal mechanism, I believe my students should also get an opportunity to evaluate my work, as in not to analyze it as such, but to let me know, if there are different ways than I am using, which they will be familiar with, or which they will be more comfortable using while learning the same subject from me. I don't know if your institution practices this kind of things, but I believe it is important, and it's very useful, not only for my students but also for me, if I want to grow academically. um, Personally, what I do is, at the beginning of every semester, I actually, because every semester I get a new batch of students. So every semester, the first day of it, I would actually, I would not teach on the first day. What I would do is, or the first week, let's say, I would want to know more about what my students want. So what I do is I kind of prepare a feedback form uh, for my students, for the new students. I prepare a feedback form just to know. Let's say I'm teaching English for academic purposes. Now I know what the syllabus is. That's there. I need to teach that content in any case, but I want to know how to teach it, so that my students get to learn effectively from my teaching. So I ask my students to fill the feedback form, where I put questions on addressing what they expect out of this course, because by then they already have the prospectus, they have the content, what they are going to learn throughout the semester. So I want them to tell me or express their own perspectives about it. One, what they want to learn out of it, and two, if they have any, let's say, weaknesses in terms of the subject. Let's say in terms of English, if they have any weakness, I want to know what are the fields, or what are the aspects where they feel they are weak and they want to improve. So there are a few other things that I put in that feedback form. So once they give me that, then I prepare my teaching materials accordingly. The materials will be same. Maybe I will add a few, like the methods would be different depending on what my students majorly need, and that will be for me based on the feedback form that they share. um, Maybe that's not a perfect way to go about it, but I feel that has helped me in my previous workplaces, so that's why I keep using that. Now again, this is important for me because that's how I would know where I as a teacher need to improve, and where I need to add maybe a few new techniques to help my students learn the subject effectively, and at the same time to help me teach them effectively. So to develop my teaching profile in my academic profile, I feel we need to take care of these things, consider these things. Then supervision, as I said, when we start going up the ladder of academic profile, there will be a point of time when I will be assigned with the responsibilities of supervision. So right now I do have students who I get to supervise. But that thing doesn't come overnight. I mean, just because you have completed your PhD or postdoctoral, that doesn't mean that you can be a good supervisor. You need to learn the responsibilities, and you need to learn the intricacies of how to supervise someone. Now, uh, I need to gain experience, to simply put it that way. So how do I do that? Some institutes, I'm not sure about your institute or anywhere here, but some institutes do give some sort of uh, power, I would say, to the doctoral candidate, someone who is just pursuing PhD. They also can actually have the role of supervising postgraduate students. I think in different disciplines of science, they do have this kind of practice, but to a limited extent. So if you are a doctoral candidate, maybe you can supervise a postgraduate student, scholar, but you can maybe have the role of a co-supervisor, not the main supervisor. Now, if I get to become a co-supervisor, even though in limited way, it still is important for me because it I can gain experience of how to supervise someone. So that helps me, when I finish my research, and then I can actually utilize that learning, implement that learning when I get to supervise somebody, students, as the main supervisor. So yes, supervision duties are also important. This is an important component in my academic profile. So I need to make sure that I explore this and I accomplish the objectives as well. Then there are other ways of learning how to supervise. One can be by being part of a research group. Let's say I am part of a smaller or a junior research group. There I can be the lead. you know so if you get to lead research groups, that also gives you the opportunity of learning how to supervise someone. Then of course we have workshops on supervision, on doctoral supervision, research supervision. So if I want to get more experience on that, then I should definitely attend such workshops. So these are the things about supervision duties or responsibilities. And then in the academic profile, I also need to know, or at least familiarize myself with a bit of administrative responsibilities. Now, as I said, we can, get ourselves involved in research projects, or research groups. So, while being in a research project, we can actually get to know a lot about, let's say, budget control, or few things about how to administer the project, how to manage staff who are part of the project. So if I get to manage or lead research projects, then that will give me the opportunities to learn a few administrative roles and responsibilities, which will again help me in developing my academic profile. So these are a few things that I can add to my academic profile, and I can work on those. For like, one is research projects where I can learn administrative responsibilities to some extent. Then there can be, let's say, organizing conferences or workshops, like the FDP program that you have been organizing, which is this one. So from this also you can have, you can learn, you can gain the experience of administrative duties to some extent, because you are organizing it. And there are a lot of things, aspects that you need to consider while organizing such webinars. I mean, whether it's virtual or physical, you always gain experience by organizing such workshops and conferences. So yes, these are the things that we should be exploring if we want to work on our academic profile. Now, so far, these are the points that I feel are needed or required for us to gain mileage over our academic profile. Now, we know that these are the aspects we need to focus on, but how do we go about these aspects or some of them? So I'll just talk about it here. So I know what are the things I need to work on. Now I need to know, how do I work on those aspects or those possibilities? What are the possible ways for me to explore, and how to go about it if I want to enhance my academic profile? As I said, research is integral. So these are the few points that, or aspects that I feel are important for one to grow academically and to develop professionally in terms of higher education. So I'll just discuss one by one about these. Since I have already talked about publication, now when we say publication, it is not just publishing a paper. It involves a whole lot of planning, and I have to strategically plan my publication, because I know what I want. I know how I want to go about in my academic profile or academic career. So I need to strategize my publication as well. For that, I need to, as I said, a few things I need to keep in mind, like, is the journal, if I'm I have decided to publish my research paper or my article in a journal, I need to first be very clear about if the journal is well established, if it is indexed or not, or is it peer reviewed. Now, these are the terms that I should be familiar with, because when I develop my, let's say, my CV, I have I have to send it to an organization for applying to some particular job, let's say academic job. So I have to be familiar with words like well established, highly indexed, peer reviewed. Is it Scopus indexed, or is it peer reviewed journal? I need to be very clear about these things. So if I specify my publication details according to, like, keeping in mind these aspects, then even for the employer, it is really clear. They would clearly see where my expertise are, or where my profile details are, which way they are going, and are they kind of aligned with the job that I have applied for. So to gain clarity for your employer, it is important for you to first be familiar with these terms, these aspects, and make sure that your CV or your academic profile includes these things very clearly, whether it's indexed or reviewed, peer reviewed, or impact factor. I need to, if I know that my journal where I'm publishing my paper, if I know that this is the impact factor and this is indexed in SCI or Scopus or IEEE, I need to be clearly mentioning that in my CV or in my application which I'm sending. Now, since I'm talking about publication, let's say, how do we know, where I need to publish my paper? How do I know which journal fits my topic that I've worked on? To know that, I need to know, first of all, the aim and scope of the journal. So let's say I'm writing a paper on language, because that's where I work on or I engage myself with. So if I want to work on maybe my research topic is about a language, it's grammar, let's say it's descriptive grammar, or a specific part of grammar that I have worked on, then I need to know which journal it will, uh, it will be relevant for. Because even for publication, I should be very clear about what the journal aims and what is the scope of it, because only then they will accept me, accept my paper for publication. So it's a long process anyway. Getting your paper published, it's a long process, we all know. If it is a highly indexed journal, then it takes even more time, maybe sometimes. So every journal has their own procedure of publication, and we need to follow that. So that is why, if I just write my paper and send it to any random journal, maybe a well established journal, but maybe I haven't noticed that that journal doesn't even, its scope or aim is not aligned with my paper. If I don't check that, then my journal will get my paper will get rejected. But then it will take some time, because they will follow the procedure, the publication procedure that they have. So instead of wasting my time by sending my research article randomly to any known journal, I should first plan it properly. I should first know if the aim and scope of the journal meets matches my topic, my research topic of the article. So please make sure that you always check the aim and scope of the journal first before you consider that journal, to send your paper for. And then, of course, the index, peer reviewed, whether it has impact factors, I need to know all of it. When we write our papers, I need to be very clear about what keywords I include, because uh, since we talk about citations, we talk about index journals, they always have these they have specific mechanism about keywords. uh, you know you have to be very strategic about using keywords, which needs to show in your title as well as your abstract. So while choosing your keywords, because these are not just words, these are the words that actually make your paper visible to a wider audience. So the better keywords, or more relevant keywords, better for you to get more audience and wider audience. So that is why using keywords is important for us. So we should be very specific about what keywords we are using, and are they aligned with the journal, are they aligned with the topic, are they included in the title of the article, are they included in the abstract, are they included in the entire paper. I need to keep in mind all of it. While checking the journal, only checking aim and scope is not enough. I also need to know the publishing guidelines, because different journals or different publications have different publishing guidelines. So if I want my work to be published, considered for publication, then I should follow the guidelines pretty well. So I need to check that very carefully before submitting my paper. I also should be familiar with Orchid. It is a system, identifying system that actually gives you exposure to different and various research sectors or disciplines. So I should have my own Orchid ID. Now, what is an Orchid ID and how it works? Maybe you already know about it. You must have been already familiar, or you can always explore, always look on the internet for, what is an Orchid ID and how I can use or utilize an Orchid ID. Basically, all these terms that I have used here are the basic keywords, I would say, which we as academicians of higher institute should be familiar with, because these are some of the components, some of the ingredients that actually help us work on our academic profile and develop accordingly. Uh, Apart from that, we also need to know about how to monitor our research, our published work. So let's say I have published a paper, maybe in a well-established and highly indexed journal. But then who is actually noticing that? Because my work, published work, should get its due exposure and due visibility. So for that, what do I need to do? Uh, Again, that has to do with the citation systems or the citation tools. So I need to be familiar with that to make sure that my research work is visible and exposed to my peers or to a wider audience, so that they get to cite my work in their research. So this is how citation works. So that's why I need to keep monitoring where my research is going, or where is it visible enough. So the visibility is something that I need to check regularly. So let's say we have databases like Web of Science or Scopus, where these journal and author bibliometrics are visible. So I need to keep a tab of those things regularly. Uh, Basically, what I mean to say is, I have published something. It should go into a well-established publication. Number one. Number two, it should be visible to a wider audience, so that my work gets noticed and my work gets cited or referred to by a lot of researchers. So I need to keep that in mind. With that, now I am talking more about research profile. As I said, in higher education, uh, teachers have more than teaching. That's why we should keep more focus on our research profile. And that's why I have more slides on research profile. Now, since we are talking about technology as well, and it's advancing every day, it has also been the same case with academia as well. So, we have different publishing mechanisms which we need to be familiar with. Now, I'm working in a college. We have our own database, digital database maybe, or repository, where all the research that we have done or published are recorded, reserved. So I need that information not only for my own work, but also for let's say I'm working on a research paper. I'm writing something on a topic, and if I need to go through the literature review, I need to conduct the literature review, then I need to go through relevant work. Now, where do I get the relevant work? I usually check the online repository of maybe my college, my university, my institute, or any openly accessible database. Now, these databases, we know that these databases, keep records of publications, good publications. They are good publications. That's why we consider them as relevant references to our work. So the same thing applies for my own publications as well. So I want my publication to be part of those online databases or those repository, because only then there will be more researchers, more people finding my work. So these databases and repository systems are actually places which give my work an exposure, the due exposure uh, to others, so that they can cite or they can notice and they can acknowledge my work. So for me, this is also important as an academician to keep track of the publishing mechanisms, the databases, if my work is going there or not, or if I am able to use.
I think ma'am has some internet issue, disconnected. I think she will. Swataswini ma'am, is it audible? Swataswini ma'am, is it audible? So you just contact ma'am through WhatsApp.
Well, your voice is not coming. Hello? Maybe tell you in a second. Yeah, stay informed. Because of our network disconnected, because of this disconnectivity, stay returned now.
Ma'am, your audio is also not audible nicely. Ma'am, Swataswini ma'am, please join you also through your dongle.
Yeah, no, just
But
inform
your audio is not. Okay, okay.
she will join now. Because of a poor.
Please, ma'am, adjust your audio, ma'am. Adjust your audio. It is not audible nicely. Make it volume more.
Yeah. Now it's coming. Is it audible?
But not too much. It's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Reachable.
So, just inform she will join now.
Okay, okay. Ma'am, send ma'am CV to my WhatsApp again.
Yeah.
Ma'am, as a co-host, you can also allow ma'am. You allow. Please see, I am doing certificate work. You just allow ma'am. As a co-host, you can also allow. Whenever ma'am joins, na. Right now, only one person is waiting. Yes, ma'am. I am allowing. Yes, I allowed. I am making co-host, ma'am. Making. Ma'am, Deepima, ma'am, you can speak, ma'am. You are a co-host now. You can continue. So concluding remarks. Deepima, ma'am, is it audible? Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. Deepima, ma'am, you are a co-host now. Yeah. You can speak, ma'am.
Yes, I'm
Deepima, ma'am.
extremely sorry for the inconvenience. Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It is common, ma'am. Please.
Some problem, give me some problem. So let me just go back to the slides. Can you see the slides now?
Yes, ma'am. Is it now? It's starting. It takes few seconds.
Okay. Can you see it now?
No, ma'am, not yet. Because of network issue, it is taking more time.
I think so.
I'm stopping your video, then it will work.
Okay. Can you see it now?
No, not yet, ma'am. Not yet, ma'am. Actually, you have network issue.
Yes, I'm so sorry for that. Actually, I just have
Okay.
a few slides,
Okay,
not
ma'am. Now
much.
you can conclude. No problem, ma'am. No problem. You can orally. You
Okay.
can.
Okay, so I was talking about the publishing mechanism, the digital repository and the databases where we need to be familiar and where we need to make sure that our published work is also recorded. Now, we talk a lot about social media and we are part of it on a daily basis. So even for our academic profile, we can use social media by exchanging our research inputs there and outputs with others. So in social media especially, we can use hashtags appropriately just to grow our networking, network of followers, because I already talked about the research network, how we what we can do about it. So social media can also help us grow our research network, which will again help us in developing the academic profile. And there are of course other academic and professional social networks like ResearchGate or LinkedIn or Academia, which I think we should all be part of at least one of these networks if we really want to grow professionally in terms of building our research and academic networks. So since it's the age of internet, nothing is impossible for us and nothing is difficult for us actually to grow academically. As I said, all the aspects that I have mentioned, we can actually work on those by exploring them in in the internet, by using the internet, by using technologies, by learning to use new technologies, so that we get, or our work, our contribution, they get exposed to a wider audience, so that we all grow academically together. So, apart from the research profile, I think we should also work on teaching learning programs. As I said, students, these days or in this era, students are they are more techno savvy than us, than some of us or most of us. So we need to get used to technology, using technology as well in classrooms, or in different interactive sessions with our students. So because of that, maybe we can enroll into ourselves into teaching learning programs or workshops that teach us how to use latest technologies in teaching, or in doing conducting research, or in creating an interactive teaching learning environment. So for that, we need to keep ourselves updated with the latest technology or latest techniques, or the current methods and techniques that are used by other academicians in other places of the country or even abroad. So we all know that blended teaching learning is something which is very common these days. So along with this, we need to be familiar with more and more digital learning platforms or digital learning mechanisms, teaching learning mechanisms, which will help us in developing our own academic profiles. uh, as I have already mentioned about mobility programs, we also can explore teacher exchange mobility programs. I'm not sure if that is common here, but while I was working in Malaysia, there I got to know, got to learn a lot about teacher exchange mobility programs, which happen in different countries, actually, like in the US, or in European nations, even in Turkey. They have a lot of teacher exchange mobility programs going. Maybe you can explore those opportunities online. There are short term and long term programs or such workshops, which I think you can explore if you really want to work on those. Apart from that, since I'm talking about teaching through an interactive session, we as academicians should also be familiar with digital technologies, like terms like digital storytelling, podcast sessions, RPGs, or role playing games, how to use them in teaching, or microblogging, or how to use social media, or how to use LMS or learning management systems in teaching learning programs. So there are a lot of such terms which sound exotic, but these are things that people or our peers are doing across the world. So we should be familiar with these terms, and we should use or learn to how to use them in our teaching learning. Network building, I have already talked about network building, since we have social media and we have other professional academically oriented websites which can help us develop network building, research networking, or simply academic networking. So since we have this ongoing situation where we can't be physically present in any conference, mostly we cannot. So this is the time for us to utilize virtual conferences. So the more virtual conferences I get myself enrolled in, the more opportunities for me, or better opportunities for me, to know more people virtually. So this is also another way of network building, building my profile academically. So I guess these are few of the things that we need to keep in mind. There's also this really keen on working myself. I want to involve myself in multidisciplinary aspects more and more, because multidisciplinary um, profile, let's say, is something which is not new, and this is something which uh, is practiced by more or less everyone right now. So if I have I have my expertise on a particular subject, that doesn't mean that I cannot explore other subjects related or something new. Multidisciplinary aspects actually give me more opportunities to know more, to learn more, at the same time to expand my own expertise and my own knowledge. So that's why I think, even though I'm maybe from humanities, maybe, there's a if there's a chance opportunity for me to work with, let's say, people from science or from technology, then I should grab that opportunity, because that will give me more exposure to newer fields, as well as, to utilize the knowledge of that particular discipline in my own. So that's why multidisciplinary research is very important these days. So if I have a multidisciplinary, let's say, profile, academic profile, that will give me more opportunities. That will open up more opportunities for me to, be in, let's say, better positions academically, professionally. So I would go for that, and in that case, I need to learn more and more of, what is, I need to be familiar with what is there in the current scenario, what is there to be learned in the current scenario, and utilize or make the best of it in my own field. It also, it not only helps me build my CV, it also helps me develop or expand my own perspectives. It gives me new perspectives. So that is one way of growing professionally, or growing even individually. So these are the few things I believe are important for us, um, to grow academically, to develop my own academic profile. As I said, these are things that I personally believe are important. There may be other points as well. It would be really nice if you share these things with all of us. If you have any ideas, any such perspective that you feel like, you should share in the academic fraternity, I'm also part of it, you are also part of it. So if we share, if we exchange these ideas, then I believe we all grow together. Since this is the time of self branding, we have a product, we are the product here, the market is the academics, and then we have to brand ourselves. um, so, to make my profile very clear on a basic level, what I can do is, this is my last slide, so I won't be taking much time. uh, what I can do to make my digital presence very strong, is I can, just Google your name. Just try Googling your name once, uh, just for a change. When you Google your name, what do you see? Do you see your social media profiles, or do you see your academic profiles? Do you see your research links, or do you see your blog, or the link of your YouTube channel? Which one do you see? Because, this SEO, these search engine optimization techniques, tactics, they actually help us a lot in giving us the exposure that we need as an academician. So, if my social media profiles are the first ones that I find when I Google my name, that means I'm not really doing much to, make my digital profile, or digital professional profile, look more visible. I'm not maybe working much on that side, so I need to work on that. So for that, maybe you can, you can be more active on your academic profiles, as in, the professional academic professional websites where you can be part of, actively part of. Or, you can have your own blog, you can have your own website. A digital presence is very important in today's time. So as an academician, I should be having my own digital imprint, and that should be a relevant one, where, everybody can see my research, my work experience, my publications, my expertise. So because of that, it's very important that I self brand. And to self brand, I need to have a strong digital profile imprint. I need to have a positive profile. And for that, I need to find the suitable platform which can, give me the exposure that I need academically. So for to do that, I need to explore technologies. I need to explore the internet, where I can, which platform I can use to build my academic profile, because online profile or digital profile is also important for me to get that exposure or to get that visibility. So this is all actually that I want to share today. I think I have taken a lot of time. I had, I think maybe some other time we can talk about this. I'm just sharing my email address in case you feel like dropping a mail or, sharing your ideas with me. So my email address is dipimabi@gmail.com. So in case of anything, you can just drop a mail. It was really a pleasure to be with all of you this afternoon to share my perspectives with all of you. And that's all for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I'm requesting participants for 4 minutes only discussion because already resource person is waiting. We'll take today's 15 minutes extra with the permission of and availability of the participants. Now I'm allowing the participant to interact directly with the resource person. You can talk. Please unmute by yourself. Those who are need, they can. Now mute. You can unmute. Those who want to talk, please. Nothing.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is
Please
Dr.
introduce
Jaya
yourself
from
first.
Ludhiana in Punjab. I am a teacher, educator working in
Yes.
education college. So my query is like I dropped my account on Google Scholar, but
Okay.
as my institution ID was not there and they were seeking the verified ID, so they stopped showing my citations. So what is the other options for or other websites by which I can get citation without having the verified email account?
I think I'm not an expert on that, but what I personally do is, in case it happens with me, I do have my own website, which I, kind of promote everywhere on every social media profile that I have. So all my publications, the recent ones, the upcoming ones, everything is updated there. So all the information related to my publication or anything that has to do with my academic profile, I keep updating it on my website. And of course Google Scholar is there, but then yeah, as you said, sometimes what happens is if it is not verified, but I still need to keep my publications or other my achievements or other details visible to others, because I want that. So in that case, I think, I don't know, I feel for me, having your own website, it can be a blog or it can be any web page, but if you create it and if you constantly update it and if you link it to your social media profiles, I think that can help. I mean, I do that personally. Since I'm not an
Yeah.
expert on that, I can only suggest you that.
Okay,
Even
ma'am.
I support ma'am, Deepima ma'am. It is
Yeah.
better to create LinkedIn account for. If
Yes,
you go
yes,
through
yes.
the experts in UK, USA, they are
Yes.
must. Even they are giving all their contact details to LinkedIn profile only.
Yes,
And
sir.
even email, after your email, you
Yeah.
can give your blog address, your LinkedIn address, this, because it is better to reach as much as possible. There are
Yes.
different alternatives. LinkedIn, Academia, ResearchGate, these
Yes.
three websites are very, very important for. So here,
Yes,
this is
sir.
the time to share.
Yes.
Myself and Deepima ma'am, we acted as a resource person at Majbat College.
Okay.
They organized last year
Yeah, yeah.
many programs. Ma'am, I was a
Oh,
resource
okay.
person along with you for 2 programs.
Okay, okay.
And I shared with the same thing with the Srotasuni madam.
Yeah,
It is
that's
very nice
nice.
to see you here.
Yeah, it's
The
nice to
participants, if
hear.
you have any email related things,
Yeah.
I will, ma'am, Jaya Batra is a regular participant, ma'am.
Okay.
This is our 32nd program, ma'am.
Oh,
Since
wow.
June,
Okay.
this is our 32nd program.
Yeah.
5 international, 5 national, and 32 international.
Oh,
It
great,
will
great.
continue another, 8 days, 21 days program.
Okay, okay. Yes.
Any other participant, please? Any other participant? Okay, if you don't have ma'am already provided LinkedIn, I will take the opportunity to present a vote of thanks to respected madam. Just I'm sharing the screen.
Okay.
Yes. So it gives me immense pleasure to present vote of thanks Dr. Dipima Bargohain. So we first prepared this certificate to resource person first time, ma'am. Actually, we are not giving last 12 days. So we started with you only. So it
Thank you so much.
very,
Thank you
very
so much.
good. Ma'am is a very innovative scholar. Even Majbat College videos are available in the YouTube. Participants can go through it. Ma'am, referencing tools and even citations and the research methodology, FDP program shared and as a resource person, but with the help of Dr. Sutasini Gogoi, ma'am, I attended and I shared everything. So this is the time to share collaborative. Ma'am rightly pointed out self-bend, blended learning approach. And ma'am, I completed in 2018 5 MOOC courses on blended learning approach. And myself and Sutasini ma'am, we received Future Learn Award also. So here there are so many. Till date, I completed 410 and 11th one I am doing for 411 MOOC courses since 2017, ma'am. So I'm sharing many things with our resource participants. It is better. I have one blog. Last 2 years, more than 70,000 viewers. So I'm reaching through my blog and 116 posts. So why
Oh,
I'm
wow.
sharing whatever
That's
ma'am shared
great.
is already practicing. Very nice, and this is only beginning with the ma'am. The collaborative work with the ma'am will continue for the purpose and benefits of the participant. The way ma'am provided how you can build and develop your academic profile. Academic profile is very, very important because face is the mirror of your inner feelings. In the same way, your academic profile reflects where you are, what you are doing, where to reach, what is your goal, what is your mission, what is your vision. So everything says about, show me your CV, I can tell about you. Just like earlier, you tell about your friends, I can say about you. In the same way, just show me your profile, I can say what you are doing. In the 21st century, without digital, many teachers still. And just after completing, our ma'am is also here, Professor Brinda ma'am. I have different innovative methodologies to do research. It is not good to fix it only one research, just like investigation, police, whenever they are doing, they never fix in the simple method or say only a single method. It is better based on PPT I am using, ma'am. Person, place,
Yeah.
and time. It is our duty to integrate where you are. So with whom you are interacting. Suppose I want to interact with a needful person. It is my duty to show
Yeah.
like and love. Until unless if I know I am not able to get data. But different teachers have different opinion. They are, but in our academia, certain rules are there. We can allow them and appreciate them and follow our own way. Really is impressed, ma'am. Our participant, they posted many things in the chat box, and you are freely provided your email ID. That is a greatness. Many teachers are not in a position to share their PPT also, but I am requesting on behalf of our participants, they are requesting please provide the PPT of the resource person. We are collecting all PPTs and we are going to post in my Google Drive. Myself and Dr. Sotasuni Goga ma'am, we developed 7S model, ma'am. Such select, study, skillful, store and share. No need to ask the email address of the participants and mobile numbers or WhatsApp. Simply what I do, I will store in the Google Drive. I will take the link. I share the blog link only with the participants. So they can reach anytime, 24 into 7, 365 days, we are reaching our participants. So thanks for showing innovative methods, the need of the hour of the 21st century, ma'am. Really, we are grateful to you and we will send your certificate and remuneration on time through proper channel. Thank you so much. See you again, ma'am.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, with the permission of the resource person, and but I am requesting Professor Brunda ma'am. Before that, I am requesting Dr. Sutasini Gogoi ma'am to present welcome address to Professor Brunda Brizili Karbiribai ma'am, our senior professor in the Department of Education, Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, Meghalaya. Please, over to you, Sutasini ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. So here I am today highly delighted to welcome our next speaker. And I would like to introduce our next speaker, who is very beautiful, Professor Benga Benjamin, the Department of Education, Northeastern Hill University, Shillong. So ma'am is obtained for MA, MPhil, PhD from NEHU, Shillong. Her areas of interest are higher education, ICT in education, philosophy of education, research methodology, comparative education. Ma'am has published 59 research papers in national and international journals. She has published and authored several books and published a good number of chapters in books. The man has presented 72 research papers in national conferences, delivered 121 invited lectures in national and international platforms. Man has actively participated and organized many extension programs, acted as coordinator of this special summer school refresher course under SHILLONG NEHU, and also acted as organizer secretary for many academic um, programs. Ma'am has received Bharat Shiksha Ratna Award by Global Achievers Foundation, New Delhi in 2012. Under ma'am's supervision, 11 PhD degrees and 2 postdoctoral degrees awarded. Ma'am has successfully completed one major project. Ma'am has membership in many academic and professional bodies. And ma'am is taking many responsibilities like Joint Secretary of Northeast India Education Society, Student Council of Department of Education, NEHU, coordinator from NEHU of Meet the Meet Scheme of Meghalaya. Uh, she is the member of editorial board of News Journal, member of editorial board of TEPSO, Journal of Educational Research, and managing editor of Red Flower Publications. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming today. And I, from the organizing teams, once again, we will welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you are a presenter now, ma'am. I allowed you can present, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amar and Dr. Shrutashwini Gogoi, for that long and elaborate introduction. In fact, not that much, we're just working side by side with Dr. Amar and all our teachers together in the department. And today, in fact, I wanted to I have few slides. There were some issues with internet yesterday, and then I could not prepare so much. But then still, I have some information to provide regarding this topic of mine. Can I share now?
Please, ma'am. You can share, ma'am.
Is it okay, or you want me to, give a full screen?
Just full screen, ma'am. Make it full screen.
All right.
That is also okay, ma'am. If you have any problem issue, that is also enough, ma'am. You can continue.
Okay. Please let me know if you can't see the slide or if there are some issues. Can you hear me?
No, enough, ma'am. Enough, ma'am. Now is a presentation mode, ma'am. Please continue, ma'am.
Okay. So the topic of my presentation is ICT. Actually, I've added ICT also here. ICT for blended learning and professional development in higher education. So the entire presentation actually revolves around blended learning. We know that blended learning is so important now, and even in our university we are trying our best. In fact, we've already trying to impose blended learning, especially after this online teaching that we had a lot of experience with online teaching. So I would start, in fact, with the saying of John Dewey, who says that if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. I think that is very true, because what we were taught yesterday doesn't mean we teach our students today also. So we don't know what's going to have tomorrow. So we have to be ready with everything, and especially in terms of ICT. So blended learning, in fact, is actually a blend of the traditional mode and also the online learning, or it could be a blend of many kind of, many aspects. It may not also be the traditional mode. It could be a blend of two different aspects. It could be an online, or maybe it could be other type of learning. So therefore, it allows the students to have more control over time, pace, and style of learning. So therefore, we can see now we are very much in the online mode, and blended way of presentation and learning and everything has taken place. And a lot of research has been done on this also, from before 2016. But I've just picked up some few researches. In fact, my entire presentation is based on the secondary data, and also some case studies which has been done, and also some kind of websites. I have visited many websites and got certain information. So this concept of blended learning, you can see, has been also touched by Kayal Dar, and in fact in 2016, and they described blended learning as, you can see, a program's learning outcome and expense, as how you would learn, and what is the outcome and what is the expense of this blended learning. And many other studies has been done by Simpson also way back in 2016. And also it is trying to say that the face-to-face and computer-assisted learning is also known as blended learning. So Oakley also did a study in 2016 and clearly showed that, this blended learning is becoming so popular now. You can see the classroom in the image there, where the students are actually sitting with their laptops and other digital devices, and at the same time the teachers teaching in the classroom. So this increases learners' participation, and also the learner, in fact, is more involved in learning here. The learning environment gets improved. So despite, in fact, if we talk about blended learning, despite its popularity, still, in fact, I was also trying to see there are actually no models actually exist to tell us that this is the way how blended learning should be done. So it clearly tells us that it depends totally upon the instructor, as how the instructor is going to teach in the blended approach. So there are a lot of opinions, there are a lot of beliefs, there are a lot of strategies which the teachers usually use when they use blended learning. And it's very much familiar now, not only in the school, but also very much familiar in the higher educational institutions. And in reality, if you see, this idea of blended learning actually means e-learning. That's why I put ICT. Without this e-learning, I think, how would you blend? How would you blend? Because one side you have a traditional mode, and maybe the other side, obviously, the e-learning comes about. So Collis, D, and Boer in 2006 also agreed that computer plays a very important role here, and also web-based technology. So this blended learning, in fact, is trending nowadays, and you can see even in 2018, another research was done by Liu et al. Also says that it is very positive and student motivation is enhanced due to blended learning. Another research done in 2012 by Paradate also says that e-learning enables learners to freely access, create, plan, and coordinate by using knowledge and communication. So you can see many more researches which I have taken for you. You can see here, this clearly tells us, all of that clearly tells us that, that ICT has been blended in such a way now in the teaching learning approach, that even teachers are trained, even classes are being completed, students are very much involved. So all these studies clearly show that this our learning environment has changed, and therefore we have the multi-choice learning environment. So here, when we look into it, we clearly focus on the aspects of communication, the aspects of literacy, and also the aspects of creativity and collaboration. So blended learning, in fact, revolves around all these. So especially the informative literacy, where you can see nowadays the entire world is into this digital technology. Every moment we are with our mobiles and we're looking for information. So therefore, when we try to look for information, it's not necessary that we have it only in the classroom. So therefore, times have changed, and it is not necessary that we all need to come in one place at one time to get information. So therefore, some more studies which has been done, you can see in 2018 and 2016, clearly shows the empowerment of ICT integration, and how this higher education has shifted now. The learning pattern in higher education has shifted totally from this traditional mode to online distance, and also maybe a part of it, where we try to blend with other aspects. So blend actually means, you're taking a mixture, just like in the kitchen we have a mixture. We add many things together and we blend it, and finally we pour it out in a bowl. So that is the mixture that we have now. How do we have it, that blend that we have made, whether it is compatible for everyone to have or taste it? So that is what I was trying to say. And now I also want to show you that about India now, when we talk about this, how we are going about using ICT and how we have been ranked in terms of ICT by using this blended approach. In this year 2020, according to the Global Competitiveness Index, we are ranked at 63 out of 79. So this clearly shows that we really need to work more on this, and our score is 37 out of 120. And here, if we compare ourselves with China, now if we see China and India, so you see India, we are ranked at 63, China is ranked at 22 or 22nd rank out of 79. And then also the country scores you can see on the right hand side, we have got 37 and they have got 62. So this clearly shows that we are still way behind in terms of technology adaptation, as how our students and learners would be adapted in terms of technology. Just now we experience a lot of technology failure. In every program you see sometime or the other we have some kind of technology failures. So these are the 4 technology enablers. You can see the broadband, then we have the cloud. And in fact, the maximum users are the cloud, where we can get a lot of information from the cloud. Then we have the artificial intelligence, and then we have the IoT, or the Internet of Things. So there we have a lowest score of 21. Then, of course, I have shown this earlier in my earlier presentations. If some of you have attended my earlier class about this mobile technology, I still want to show it once more, that the mobile technology as of now in 2021, we have 4.88 billion mobile phones in India, and the users and smartphone users are 3.8 billion. So this also shows, when we are comparing with the years from 2006 to 2021, we are increasing very slowly. And also the mobile penetration in India is around 749 million users last year in 2020. So we are improving, but still when we talk about a pure digital, a classroom, or you can say online classroom, or therefore, it gets disrupted in some way or the other. And this is in fact the number of mobile phone internet users in India from 2010 to 2020, with estimates until 2040. So you can have a look. We will grow. We are still growing now, and maybe we may reach to a much higher pace, as having around 1,000. You can see the graph, which is going to 1,500. So therefore, when we talk about all these ICT in our country and how we're going to blend this in our teaching learning system, we know that ICT is not new. It has been there with us. It's a part of IT, and it is an offshoot, and it has grown tremendously over the past. And in this 21st century, in fact, it is the in thing. Without it, in fact, is just like without electricity. We are just nowhere. So this ICT, in fact, it is one of the workable options now. Without it, we cannot work, and we have trained ourselves in that way that we are just not functional without that, and therefore our teaching learning system has got affected. Studies have shown, and again, if we see, many other studies are also showing that abundantly now ICT relates with connectivity. So we need to check our audiovisual, our multimedia aids, and also many other materials which are requiring for teaching improvement. And also, if we see, our teaching becomes successful if only we are well connected. And of course, the how many students have come in for your classes If you are teaching in a blended mode, that also relates a lot as how accessible is ICT and also the information. So therefore, the teaching learning system has opened up because of ICT, especially in all levels, even in the school level. But of course, higher education, we are using more of ICT, and our learning approaches have changed. Each teacher has a different way of teaching and using the ICT blend. So therefore, the blend here is coming. When we talk about this blend, this is also known as hybrid learning, because when we talk about the asynchronous and the synchronous, means when sometimes we are having a face-to-face mode in the computer when we are together, and at the same time we are not together but learning does take place. Maybe we leave our video lectures in the Google Classroom or somewhere, and then our student learns it from that. So therefore it has attracted many students now. Now students feel that yes, a new type of learning has come, which is known as blended learning, and they're trying a lot to get maximum benefit from this type of approach. So again, if you see, just like it has been predicted today that teachers will are going to change their mode and strategies of teaching, basically because we are accompanied by digital technology, or we are in the digital world. Now we are being well equipped, we are spending money to get good laptops, good connectivity and good bandwidth connections, so that we are always on our toes. And therefore many studies, Islam also has done a study in 2018 and is trying to say that our appliances are rising day by day. That means we are adding technologies in the field of education. So now, talking about the professional development of teachers, we all know that teaching is very important, and so we need to enhance ourselves professionally. And how would we do that? So we may have many ways to develop professionally, especially in terms of ICT. We may have some roles like where we go in for some kind of refresher courses, some kind of new type of adaptations we have. So therefore ICT is in fact come a long way in educating our teachers and also enhancing the professional development. So if you look into the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, it also said a research was done where it was involving 34 member countries, and this clearly showed that the professional development is actually ongoing. It is dealing with a lot of training, practice, feedback, and adequate time, follow-up support. And also, in fact, teachers are actually the learning communities, and they need to be developed each and every time, especially when they have to enhance their skill in teaching. And this can be done systematically with professional training. So a lot of professional training can be done, you can see, by courses, workshops. Then we have conferences, seminars, some kind of degree program, then observation visits, participation of network of teachers, and many others. We can also have peer observations. So, and even you can see also a study which was done in 2018. This clearly showed in the whole world, all these countries, how the teachers have taken part actively in professionally developing themselves. And the first country here was Lithuania, sorry, and then comes Australia. But India is not here, not seen in this picture. Maybe we were lacking in some kind of, in some way or the other. So the SDG indicator could not, give us a score here. So anyway, we have many approaches for this blended learning here. Google, in fact, is very common. We all like Google, and why? Because it is free of cost and it is giving us the up-to-date information. We're using all the apps of Google, like the Google Classroom, the Google Form, the Google Drives, then the Google Calendar, anything else. All the apps, in fact, they are all free, and especially the Google Classroom. If you see, it is even the Google Meet, the apps that we are using, it requires a very low bandwidth. So with this low bandwidth, anywhere, a student may be able to catch, even with a weak internet, they're able to catch the Google Meet links. So therefore it has become very popular, and so is the Google Classroom. So therefore it gives us a very enhanced and a very joyful experience in getting in touch with Google. And I would like to say that regarding the professional development, as how teachers would like to enhance themselves professionally. Studies have shown that 90% of the teachers and administrators believe implementing a blended learning plan requires learning new skills. And these new skills are obviously ICT skills, and which is one of them. And 80% believe that they would benefit more from professional development and blended learning. So you can see that, you know, a lot of change is coming now, and we need to adapt ourselves to these changes. Universities are coming up with a new curriculum which is in a blended mode, and how this blended learning, you know, has actually become popular this year in 2021 is, you know, because we are trying to upgrade our curriculum in the university, bringing in this blended approach. So one particular very common form is this Google Classroom. We have all been using Google Classroom, especially during the lockdown and the COVID-19 pandemic. And this app has been very user friendly and web friendly. It is trying to make teaching more efficient and meaningful, and it has all kind of features like the Google Mails, the Google Docs, the Google Drive, Google Slides, and all. But then one thing is that we need to be very careful as how we use this. So for having a Google Classroom, each and every student needs to have an email ID. So that has to be a Gmail ID. So after a student has a Gmail ID, you know, he or she can automatically get connected with the Google Classroom. So this is actually a full online support it gives us in all blended forms. And studies have shown that teachers and students are well interacted with this. So for this Google Classroom, we need to have an app, which this Google app covers this. We need to have a Gmail account, and also the instructor needs to give a Google code to the students, and with this help, with this class code, the student automatically enters into the class, and then also can create you know, can have access to what the teacher has posted and to all the assignments and all the class tasks. So Google Calendar is also very informative. This is also another way where it helps us. We are updated. We can complete our activities, and dates have been shown here. Google Forms have been successfully used for evaluation and peer grading. We have been using this for our internal tests, and also for having our online entrance test. And many other documents also can be used in Google for paper sharing and the others. So you can see that this approach has been very, very popular, and students and teachers are very well linked with this. And assignments can also be sent back to the students, and students can correct them and send it back again to the teachers. So these are all the benefits as per the study done by MAFA in 2018. This clearly shows us how it is Google Classroom is well managed, and in all kind of simplicity, students can have access to it, and it is very flexible, and also it is very safe and secure, and students can register to the class very easily. It also promotes collaboration, and the instructors can engage parents. One very important point here is, during the COVID-19 pandemic, even the parents were learning with the students. So I think parents also become a very important part of this Google Classroom. They can also participate in class activities, and therefore they can see the progress of the child. They are also very motivated. You can monitor all what is going on. So therefore, in fact, this COVID-19 pandemic has not only been, you know, it's also been a blessing in terms of our entire instruction which has been changed, and learning which has been changed, and it has benefited not only the students but the family on the whole. So this is my Google Classroom. You can see where I have kept all these classes of mine recently this year. And this is how we can go about using the different classes. You can go have unlimited number of classes over here, and you can add them, and you can click to any one of them, and they take you to the destination. Now, another very important way of blended mode is this MOOCs, where teachers are professionally getting trained here. This is one of the most popular platform for teachers. In fact, even in our own university, NEHU, we are trying to blend MOOCs into our curriculum, so that students can finish up some of the courses in MOOCs. Some credits are also being given for this. Now, this MOOCs, in fact, became very, very popular in 2012, when the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, first of all started this course on electronics department with the circuits and electronics, and they has attracted 1,55,000 registrations, and at that point of time in one go. So therefore the other universities and institutions were quite taken aback as how they could enroll so many students in one go, but then it was all online. So therefore, fearing that they would be left behind, so around 4,000 MOOCs on higher education are available. Many institutes have taken this up, and now over 4,000 MOOCs are available in higher education, MOOCs courses, and 35 million learners are there at one given point of time. And so many benefits of MOOCs are also there, which you can see. The most important is that it is flexible and it is online. So, you don't need to go anywhere or, to get a particular course done. So I would like to share this certificate, which I had done also recently in Future Learn. And this was provided to me by the University of Leeds and Institute of Coding. I had done this with the help of Dr. Amar. We were trying to, do a course on this communication and interpersonal skills. And just to show you that this also can be done, and I think all of you can also have access to this. Another one is SWAYAM, that is the Study Webs of Active Learning for Young Aspiring Minds. This is very much a Government of India initiative, taken the entire model of MOOCs, and this relates with access, equity, and quality. And this is very, very important because it bridges the digital divide between students in the rural areas and the urban areas. So there are many 4 quadrants here. You can see this relates to the video lecture, the specially prepared reading material, then we have the self-assessment test, and also the online discussion forum. This has been successfully taken up, but all the Government of India platforms, especially the UGC, NCRT, and iOS. Now, for this professional development of teachers, we have many other apps in 2021. These are the courses which you can go about. Coursera is very common, and many free courses are also there. Open Learn, Future Learn, and the VLACS. This is also for virtual schools offering webinars to educators, and also we have the Khan Academy, the edX, the TED Ed, which is engaging inspirational and video educational videos. You can also give a talk on TEDx if you are invited, and I think they pay us quite well if we can go and give them a talk on the recent developments of anything. It could be your teaching, learning experience, or anything to do with academics. And of course, we also have the Duolingo app, which is very common also now. This is mostly, it is used for languages, but then this was recently used also for evaluation in languages. I have seen myself the app, if you even move your head left and right, you are disqualified. So this clearly tells us that during examinations, we are not supposed to look left and right, even though if you're sitting in front of a computer. Then coming to the blended learning, clearly telling us about different ways of blended learning. Like, for instance, we have the different types of learning resources. You can also make a blend over there. Different types of learning activities, you can also make a blend. Then different places and times, different ways that people interact with each other. So this clearly shows that, online interactions are very successful now if you're using this blended learning. A lot of workshops, a lot of meetings, classes can be done. And with the growth of this blended learning opportunities for students, there is now a need to examine how this kind of online learning opportunities can effectively take place for professional development. So you can see we also have a grounded strategic learning model, which I was telling you, no clear instruction was given in this model. And also we have the guidance and management and capable instructor and many others. Then the basic premises here in this blended learning basically talks about flexibility, which I was trying to tell you is that here we are so flexible in terms of this blended approach that not only in terms of teaching, but also for the students, they may take their time, in actually learning this particular topic, or maybe the course that you're giving them, and at their own time they may finish. And of course, the connectivity between the student and the teacher is also very, very much relevant here. And this connection is required, can be done only if we have a very good wavelength, especially in terms of the websites and the internet connectivity. So technology plays a very important role, especially when we're talking about the web environment. So changes can be seen here, especially there are two major changes which you see, like improving the logistics of learning, which is one of them, and another one is improving the pedagogies of learning. So in logistics, we refer to how efficient we are, how easier it is, and how well organized we are in terms of also, where we can use in terms of time management, and also we can archive our lectures or whatever has been given. You can keep them and also transfer them easily, unlike using the traditional mode where we always have the hard copy with us, especially if you're using a cloud. So you can transfer it in the cloud, and whenever you want, you can retrieve it back by you having your username and your password. So when you're trying to improve the pedagogies of learning, we try to, in fact, it tries to tell us that we can have a very rich environment of learning, and we can have a very social learning approaches, and we can create, design, and build new type of learning approaches. And of course, the first type of improvement which you see here in blended learning is, you can see those images over there, that a girl is nicely sleeping in the park, resting in the park and also learning. So at the same time, the others are also engaged in the work, but also learning. So this, in fact, improves the logistics of learning, and it makes things much, much more easier. And you can see the logistics refers to flexibility in terms of time and space. And so it relates to many points here, which I have given. You can see by organizing, archiving, finding, saving, and many others, especially the last one, that is transferring and sharing, which can be done so fast. And then, of course, when we talk about the experience of learning, we have to see as how joyfully we are learning. So this is telling us we are not bogged up with learning. Usually when you see in the traditional mode only, the students feel that it is such an effort for them to just go to the classroom. Morning, you get up and then take a bus and then go there to the classroom, sit there for 6 to 8 hours, and then come back home. And there you don't have time. You still have to do your homework and maybe prepare for your test the next day. So where is the time of creativity? Where is the time of any kind of other designing, or maybe even to have time for your family or your parents? So this is again creating a very joyful experience, especially in terms of building learning experiences. Then you can see the pedagogical changes, teaching and learning change. You can see from being given to finding or creating, and from fixed to options, from listening to doing, from one size fits all to tailoring. This is very true, because we always, when we teach, we feel that everyone should listen like the same, in the same way. But things are changing, and we can have a different modes of presentation and acceptance also by the students. Then you can see the contribution and flexibility. Everywhere you can see is contribution, 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 but then you also have the pre-activities, the activities, and also the collaboration, which is the follow-up. So that means we have the before and after, the before and after. So therefore, when you look into this, you will see that all these are supported by web tools, that is ICT. It brings a major change in the teaching learning system. And also when we try to design this blended course through ICT, we need to check the supports, the support that we have, whether we have a very good internet support and the computers or the laptops, and then what kind of assessment tools we would be using, what kind of web environment we are in, and also, of course, how would we design the rest of the course, by maybe using many other modes. And then how student being an active contributor and co-producer, how can the student learn? For us, the main focus is the student. How will they learn? Whether they are actually interested in sitting for your class, whether they really love being in your class. So what can you do? So you can create learning materials by, you can see there the study resources, quiz questions, model answers, many other things, lecture material being the most important. And of course, you can also have a very good virtual network of students and peers where you're working from. And so you can, in this network, you can share your resources and also evaluate also very easily. And like in the last class just now, a resource person from China says that we really need to have an electronic portfolio. This is very important, because how would anyone know you? So even the students need to know you, and they need to get your, you know, your learning presentations, whatever you're trying to present. So they go to your website or maybe your blog, and then you try to get it from there. So it becomes easier for you to use all those in all the blended form. So again, you can see this is basically a movement from the content to contribution. How would you move from content to contribution? And like you would build a course, you know, in a way where you would add all kind of, have all kind of initiatives. Like for instance, you would add your lecture material, you would add maybe the statement of your problem, and then maybe you would also add where did you look for this material. Like I was telling you today, my content, everything is based on secondary data, case studies, and also certain websites which I have visited. And therefore, another thing is that how would the student, you know, add more information to it after getting information from you, how they would add more information to it. And I think we all heard about the flipped classroom, where the student in fact takes the initiative of giving more information to the teacher's material and making, you know, trying to remold it in a better way, come back to the class, or maybe again share the information with the entire class as how their presentation could have been. So there are certain key aspects here which you can see, like the students and the course. How many is one of the question which is always comes, and credits, how many credits should be there in this blended learning. Then the background that you need to use, and you know whether and what kind of level, what kind of technology you need to use, the flexibility which is desired, what kind of innovative pedagogies we need to use. As teachers, we need to be very, very innovative in our approaches. We need not follow the other teachers what they have done, or our old teachers what they have done. So if they make mistakes, you need not follow the same mistakes. You may have your own strategy of doing things, and therefore you need to come up with many kinds of objectives, many kinds of in the course situation. And of course, the problem, you need to check on the problem wherever learning is taking place. And also you can check this learning design which I have put, especially it relates with the task, the resources, and the supports. The task relates with the problems, the projects, and the information investigations. Projects are very important, as how you would give them the project of learning, of the task, you know, especially on learning. And then the supports could be many. You can be supplying them with schedules, with instructions, with procedures, and many other methods you can give them. And resources are also there where you can give them, especially the web links are very important, where they can, nowadays you see we don't require any more hard copies or books. We really require the links which we try to get from our teachers, or any kind of information that we want. And of course, case studies are very important, because based on these case studies only, you know, you can furthermore come up with more learning tasks. And then of course we can plan the resources very well also in blended learning, from the real time to the workplace document. We can plan them very well. You can see all these formats which are given here, and especially accessibility is the most important. Even if you have everything and no one can access, so it's no point. So accessibility is most important. Cost factor is also, but on the whole here, if you talk about ICT, it relates a lot with the cost factor, because each teacher needs to spend on adopting this new kind of approaches. And sustainability is also there, because we need to be well sustained, you know, when we try to use this blended learning approaches, especially with the help of ICT. And of course, one study has been done by Ellen et al. In 2007, which clearly tells us that blended learning, 30% of the content actually goes in for blended learning. You can see in this table here, Allen, along with Seaman and Garrett in 2007 has done a study, and you can see out of 100%, the maximum comes now at 80% is online. Okay, where most of the content is delivered online, and traditional mode is just 0% because most of them prefer either the web facilitated learning, the blended learning, or the online learning. So blended learning has also got a lot of importance, because it relates also with face-to-face along with online learning. So therefore the students are quite happy with this also. And then there are many advantages of this blended learning. You can see, for instance, it improves learners' participation, which I was telling you from the beginning. And of course, if we talk about promoting learning, it also promotes a lot of learning and interactive learning, incorporates a range and modes of learning. And when we look into that, we also have seen that this blended learning in many countries, a recent study was done by a Lebanese American university, which clearly says that many teachers who have graduated from this blended learning have actually benefited a lot, and they have said that they prefer that the future learning opportunities should be based only on blended learning. So therefore, you can see this. It also creates a safer learning environment, and students have autonomy over their learning, because it is just like a cafeteria approach, where the students feel that they choose what they want to learn, and then we are here as a facilitator to help them. And a lot of advantages have also been seen in terms of this face-to-face and computer-aided learning. And if you see in 2013, also a study done by Curtis, Bank, and Graham have said that blended learning, in fact, provides cost effectiveness because it can reach a larger audience, and also the travel cost is totally cut. So now if you can see, even MHRD or the MOE has stressed that this our webinars, our conferences and all may be kept online because it's cutting a lot of cost. So we don't need to travel to places to go and attend a webinar or a conference. So therefore it is lots influential and beneficial. And in conclusion, I would just like to say that this blended learning approach is required now, and we are going to use it in 2021. And of course, many curriculum in the universities all over the world, they have implemented this blended learning. And where we can see most of it depends on the students on how many percentage of offline and how many percentage of online learning they are looking for. So a student might attend classes in the real world classroom setting, and then they can supplement their work by completing an online multimedia coursework. So this is what we are trying to have it in NEHU also. They need to complete some kind of online multimedia coursework through MOOCs, and all the departments in fact are implementing this. And therefore students who have completed this online coursework followed by this interactive face-to-face class activities, it is proved in many studies that they have a richer educational experience. So this is actually what I wanted to share. And I also wanted to say that this production and dissemination of knowledge and good practices is actually based on the teacher's experience also, how the teacher is ready to take up these kind of tasks. For example, if you ask the participants to share the information regarding this blended approach, I think we may get a very positive approach. But then it again depends a lot on the teachers as how ready they are to take up this kind of blended, approach. So this is all from my side. And in fact, I was trying my best. I didn't have much time to come up with more information on blended learning. For me, I would just like to say that this is a very important area. We need to deal more on this. I think more webinars and conferences, maybe, we can have a topic on this blended learning, because a lot of teachers will be very much into this kind of a lot of teachers will be a part of this blended learning, and I feel that we need to take up this topic more. More discussion mode should be there, so that teachers and students can be actively involved. So thank you so much from my side, Dr. Amar and Dr. Shrutashwini Gogoi, for
Thank you so much,
inviting.
ma'am. Now
for
it is the
inviting me.
participants. You can interact directly before going to present vote of thanks. Anybody, you can talk directly. It is a golden opportunity. Whenever you are interacting with the resource person, you can learn many things. Ma'am is seeing me since 2013. I never miss any opportunity. Day before yesterday also, I take a role to interact with the Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. So opportunity is not given by someone. Don't treat it as a chance. It is a choice. It is your duty to select. Always make it as a choice. It is the best choice for you, not chance. Please utilize this choice. Interact with the professor. Ma'am is ICT. After knowing from ma'am only, I motivated many things. ICT, I became now ICT
No.
resource person. Before me, ma'am is the resource person of ICT. So it is better, please, anybody, anyone, no restriction. We are always in our program, no partiality, known person, unknown person, known parties, everyone is equal for us. Please, equal opportunity, equal time for only 4 minutes. You can conclude at 4:45.
I was trying my best to complete fast, Dr. Amar, because of the time constraint.
I know, ma'am. I know, ma'am.
You
I know,
gave
ma'am.
me till 4:30, but then I have crossed.
Anyone, you can talk directly.
Or we can share our
Okay,
views.
I will ask by myself then, because here on Antara Day, research scholar from Tezpur University, please interact with ma'am. I want students and scholars. Antara Day, are you there? Okay, I'm checking. Antara.
I think Dr. Amar is a more professional in ICT and blended learning. Dr. Amar?
Ma'am.
Ah.
Okay, Manju Mishra from SS Khanna Girls College. Manju Mishra, madam, you can interact, please. मंजू मिश्रा जी, आप मैडम के इंटरेक्ट कर सकते हैं प्लीज. Majority teachers from UP, ma'am, here SS Khanna College, but their medium of instruction is Hindi, but they can speak in English also very nicely. Anybody? Jaya Batra, madam,
you can,
from
Dr. Amar,
Punjab.
Dr. Amar,
Ma'am.
Yeah, I think you can give us some more inputs regarding this. You've done so many MOOCs courses, no? So,
Yes, ma'am. I have a few more hands-on activities, ma'am. I will take.
Yeah, so
I'm
you
keeping
can
some more session with me. We have another 9 days.
Yeah. No, you can
Okay,
highlight us with this blended learning.
Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
It was very informative session. We learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Any question, ma'am? We need a question. Question is the stepping stone for progress.
Yes, Dr. Jaya Batra. Dr. Jaya.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, I think you were there in most of the programs.
Yeah, I
They're regular participants, ma'am. See,
Yeah, so I think you
after
all must
submitting
be
feedback
using
form also, they are
this
here.
blended mode. You must be using also the blended mode.
Yeah, ma'am, we are using in the college. We are using every mode like Google Classroom.
So what are the? I did not put the demerits or the of the blended learning.
It's the circumstances are compelling us to go for this because of COVID. We are supposed to use it. But what I personally feel that India is like divided into two. Like Bharat is there and India is there. People are not having the gadgets to use it. Like many of my students, they are not having this. Sometimes they are answering me, ma'am, because my brother was using it, so I don't have a mobile at that time. See, this is really sometimes it's hurting to know that people are not having the gadgets. Though we people are trying our best as a teacher educator, but there are many shortcomings which still we are to fulfill it.
True. That's why, I tried to show the ICT, development in India. And I tried to compare with China, though China is more popular, has more population than India. But still, if you see, they are way ahead in terms of ICT, and also the bandwidth is much higher compared to, what we are using here.
True,
So
ma'am.
there we are lacking, and in fact, all of a sudden we have to do our courses online. So that's why many of the students feel left back, especially in the rural areas where connectivity is very poor. And sometimes even during evaluation and examination, they have a lot of issues, with connectivity.
Yeah.
So if we talk about ICT fully, then we need to have a full support of ICT also.
Definitely, ma'am. It's true.
Actually, in developed countries, every home they have, ma'am also visited many countries, every home they have broadbands. So they must, they're keeping system, even scanner, fax, this type of things. So it is our duty now, at least the time because of COVID, to think as just like a kitchen, we need just like a four-wheeler, two-wheeler, there is a need of our technology and the stuff. You have broadband. Even previous government, UPA government tried to provide, but after this present government, but no single cell phone towers establishment during the pandemic. No single.
Yes,
Only
yes.
whatever we are existing, that's one only, and the number of usage, maybe the percentage increased 400 times, not 200, 300,
Yes,
more than
yes, yes.
400 times. So that is why NEHU also, we don't have students, but we are facing sometimes problem Wi-Fi, but we are taking special measure to reach you all. So this is about many things
So
are there.
that's why, Dr. Amar, I shared that mobile penetration in India, which
Yes.
was showing, quite a lot mobile penetration, but we don't know how effective they are, in getting the internet also.
Ma'am, already China started 5G, ma'am. Already some area they
Yes,
are
yes.
pilot
In my
study.
last
But
class, I
still,
had shown about this 5G. So this time I didn't want to show because I was concentrating more on the blended approach. But China has gone much ahead, in terms of this ICT in this Asian countries, if
yes,
you
ma'am.
see. And China and Japan gone much, much ahead.
Day
So,
before yesterday, I interacted with Professor Sudarshan sir, botany professor in Venkateswara University. In USA, old roads are now the Chinese government extraordinary technology. They have all best technology, to say frankly. Even though USA is not in a position to agree the greatness of China, but it is our duty to agree it. Even Indian technology, if you see the newspaper day before yesterday, I shared in our NEHUTA group, they are using, we are using Chinese technology only. One way we are telling, treating an enemy, but in another way we are requesting them to provide technology, so many things. So it is a time. Don't think about friend or enemy, this one, that one. Wherever a good thing is there, it is better. Even ma'am is rightly pointed out. I doing MOOC courses in every, even Italy, UK, USA, South Africa, Canada, almost all the countries. So it is our duty to learn from good things, anybody or any place. So PPT again, I'm telling, place, person, and time is the right time. 20. So we don't want to take your valuable time. See you again tomorrow. We have morning time also. Please visit NEHU website already, www.nehu.ac.in, education department, and NEHUTA, Northeastern Hill University Teachers Association, www.nehu.ac.in. I just posted. We uploaded, ma'am, already flyer uploaded. You can participate in national level panel discussions. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir and our NEHUTA President and other senior most professors are coming to discuss on NEP 2020. Is very good. Please join, and same, I am the host. We can provide you certificate also. There is no restriction. You can join at any time. Only FDP I'm making restriction because it's a professional development sponsored by ICSSR to make a discipline, to teach discipline only. So but it is our duty. That is why we are, there is a need to show difference between the participants. See, after submitting also 71 participants are still there, ma'am, along with you and me. So it shows their interest. Really, we are grateful to you. Just I take 1 minute to express a vote of thanks to ma'am, gratitude. Ma'am is always ready to cooperate me. So this one is actually not working, ma'am. Okay.
It's okay. Okay, no issues.
No, just 1 minute. Yes. Now it is working, ma'am. Luckily working. Only 1 second, ma'am. Because I am a host now, that's why it is showing something, right?
Thank you so
Right.
much.
It gives me immense welcome, ma'am. This certificate I am sending after this presentation. It's loading. So it gives me immense pleasure to present vote of thanks to Professor Brunda Brazili Kadbirimbai ma'am and the senior teacher in the education department. So this one I designed, ma'am, today to present. Yes. So certificate of appreciation for your outstanding contribution and contribution expertise as a resource person. ICSSR sponsored, NERC sponsored one-day international workshop on here building and improving an academic profile of teachers. We selected this title, ma'am. And you provided A to Z because you have first-hand information. You visited Philippines, you visited Greek, you visited other countries, China and Singapore, USA, so many countries you visited. You have first-hand information when compared with any other the department. So you are the right person to present this topic, and we need your contribution, your blessings, and participation in future also, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Amar and
Now,
Dr. Shitashvi
ma'am,
Gogoi.
I am requesting you to also announce the workshop is end or over, please, ma'am.
Me, Dr. Amar?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You only, ma'am.
Okay. So I would like to thank Dr. Amareshwaran and also Dr. Shitashvini Gogoi and all the participants. And for today's workshop, I think it was very fruitful, especially the one from China, which I was hearing. It was so nice and informative. I would like to thank everyone. And now I would like to declare the workshop closed for today. Thank you,
ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.